Black British Dynasties in Music, a family affair, in conversation with Kwame and Namali Kwaten.
My name is Kwame Kwaten, and I am first and foremost a musician, then producer, then a music manager, then an events organizer with Creating Vision, then vice chair of the MMF, then Brits trustee, then Mobo trustee, then co-chair of EJAG, managing director of Ferocious Talent, managing director of Ferocious Songs and Alive and Well Songs. I think that's it. Yeah.
Cool. My name is Namali Kwaten, also known as NKOK, music producer of Blue Lab Beats, also owner of Blue Adventure Records. Blue Lab Beats are also signed to Blue Note Records. If you don't know who signed to them, well, who was signed to them, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, basically every jazz legend. And we won a Grammy with Angelique Kidjo this year as well. And that's very much my story, really.
Nice. I can get goosebumps already, guys. Today is August 18th, and before we get into the story and hear how you guys became what you've become, how do you feel right now in this very moment?
I feel it's a weird one, isn't it? It's a weird one because...
A lot's been done.
What's that?
A lot's been done.
Yes, a lot has been done. Well, it's good because actually no one's really done this before, which is wild, but then always shows why things need to happen. Sometimes the simplest things just need to happen. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, obviously we do some lessons and stuff with American students.
That's true.
With Vivian, isn't it? Yes.
That's right. So Vivian Scotchy, we do one thing as a father and son thing, which is, well, we do a few things as a father and son thing, but one of the things that we do is we do mentoring as a father and son duo, but for an organisation in the United States. So we mentor, but there'll be groups of 50 at a time.
Together, you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, over Zoom, basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over Zoom.
So it's like from people from all different states and everything, yeah, who just want to really know about music industry, from manager business side, then to musician, production, songwriting, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've been privy to a few of these conversations before?
Yes, a few, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes is the answer. As an organisation, it's a lot more, how do I put it? This is less formal. Mind you, I'm talking early, so I don't know. But yeah, this is less formal, and theirs is a lot more. I guess I'm just looking for it now. Funny enough, I'm just looking for it on the phone. But theirs is a lot more. Yeah, it's a lot more. It's a lot more. I guess because it's got a one mission every time. And every time we speak, it's about us showing them, how a family dynamic can work in life, but also in business.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay, we're going to get onto the family dynamics soon
Yeah.
as well. And we're also going to get onto the things that made you who you are. But before we jump there as well, for anyone listening and watching right now,
I've just done it. It's power to inspire.
power to inspire.
That's what it is. It's the power to
Yeah.
inspire. So we're mentors for Power to Inspire, and that's run by Vivian Scotchu, who's done great things. She signed Shabba Ranks, you know. Anyway, sorry.
I mean, many people, but yeah.
Amongst others, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get into a little bit of the history, Namali, what I want to ask you both actually is, what songs has the other been involved in that people may know you for? So dad to son, what song has sons been involved in? Son to dad, what songs has dad been involved in?
What song has the son been involved in?
That's it.
I think people will know Namali, or should I say people will know NKOK for Silk by Koji Radical.
Featuring Masego.
Featuring Masego, yeah. They'll know, and he co-wrote and produced that with Blue Lab Beats. And then people will know him for Pineapple, Blue Lab Beats. People will know him for Fired Up, Angelique Kidjo. So that's the Grammy-winning album. Let him hear it, absolutely. Ring it. Ring the bell. And I think people will probably know him for the Ego LMA stuff as well, I should imagine. I'm just trying to think. There's somebody massive that I've missed out, but it'll come. Oh, Motherland Journey, I think. Fela Kuti. I think people will know him for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess, your production, obviously, Show Like Amma needs somebody. I think, I guess in production world, it's like very half-half. Because when it's like tracks that's big, it's like half will really know, and then the other half will be like, oh yeah, but not actually deep how much like that song was put on the radar for like UK soul and R&B, you know, because it's the thing of you guys did that back in 90s, and then it still has radio play today, you know. Like I've heard, I think like, I don't know, I've heard it like in Uber drives and stuff probably like 7-8 times or something, you know.
And that was
like,
when? What was the year?
Well, when I heard that.
No, what was the year the song was made?
1996.
1996.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're stepping back just a little bit right now. What I wanted to know from you first, Dad, what music, when did you first discover music as a fan?
2 people. No, 3. Okay, so 4. 1 is my father who passed away when I was 7. But his record collection, or his records that he left, so Ray Charles, like, just Jimmy Smith, lots of Blue Note records, loads of Blue Note records. And then my mum, who was much more on the pop side, so she was like Millie, My Boy Lollipop, you know. But she was Miriam Makeba, so she was South Africa, and he was West. So she was Miriam Makeba, she was Dollar Brand, she was, you know, give me somebody else, Lady Smith, Black Mambazo. She was, you know what I mean? So yeah, that style, that was her, you know.
So that was your first introduction?
Letta Mbulu. She was Letta Mbulu. That kind of stuff is what she was into. So that was her. Those 2 between them. One's more classic, I guess, sort of crooner almost. And also he loved opera. So weirdly, on Sundays, I got very used to just hearing around as a real you, just hearing like opera around. So I listen to opera without even thinking about it, you know. But then there were some other interventions. So you had people like, there's a girl called Diane Coke who's still around now. And Diane introduced me really to disco.
How and when?
She gave me a tape. She made me like a mixtape, but like it was just a tape with tunes on it. And I remember, it was the first time really that I'd heard Chic. It was in the 70s. And I remember just like tripping out, like, whoa! Like, this is crazy, you know? Yeah, it's like hardcore. So I became a Chic fan for a long time after that. But then there was disco, La Coco Motion, like all of these songs. El Coco, that was the tune. Yeah. Baby, let's do the locomotion. It's like, what a tune. Bassline. Or Taste of Honey, Boogie Oogie Oogie. Great bassline. So yeah, so she introduced me to that. But then the other person that was big, but in number 4, that didn't realise it really at the time, played quite a big part, is Jeff Swan. So Jeff Swan was my Uncle Jeff, and occasionally Mum would drive up to his place and the two of them would be chatting about life and blah, blah, blah. They would do that in his kitchen. Jeff is, you know, one of the first South Africans to own property in Camden. Like, full stop, like the guy's heavy. Like, anyway, Jeff, but as a landlord in Camden, that's what I meant to say, yeah. But Jeff Swan, he had a rule, because I used to be like, I'd see his front room, so I'd look at it and I'd just be like, whoa. And I remember he had this wild, like, as they did back then, shag pile carpet, like deep, like really deep. The whole room was brown, like brown velvet, brown this, brown, the whole room, right? Everything in it was brown. And I remember being like, wow. But as soon as I got close to the door, he'd be like, nope. No, you know how it is. It's a special room, right? You can't go in. Front room. So the only way he said that I was allowed in, he said, you can go in on one condition. I said, what? He said, that you listen to Stevie Wonder when you're in there. He said, if you listen to Stevie Wonder while you're in there, you're allowed in. So I was like, okay. So first album, Songs in the Key of Life, he said, go ahead, listen. So I just used to listen. And if it wasn't on, I wasn't allowed in. So I wanted to go in there and just be in there. So that was it. I just used to sit and listen to Songs in the Key of Life, or just mess around in there. He'd put games in there, whatever. You know what I mean? That's what I used to do. That was it for me.
As a fan,
yes. I guess, like, yeah, when I was younger, well, I mean, like, obviously, well, my mum had a massive, insane vinyl collection because she was a DJ. In the 90s, she used to DJ in a place called Fresh and Funky. It was like 600 cap, 700 or something.
More. It's more like 7, 8, but yeah.
Yeah, and like, so yeah, she would play there every week. And it's not like when you DJ now, you have a computer, then it's like, you just ruffle up some songs, you know, you bought the physical thing. So it's like the library for her was, well, still is insane. And so like whilst growing up, I'm like, it was very much her collection, then my dad's collection, just on rotation, really. And then my dad was like, what's going on my travels to school, he'd be like, okay, I'm going to give you one album to listen to per week, and then it'd be new ones, and then I'd be like, oh no, I want to listen to Stevie Wonder songs of the Key of Life, like again and again and again. And then I'll be like, no, I want to listen to Miriam Makeba again and again and again. And then there's like quite a few like high life joints as well. Yeah, and then so like those are like my main influences, definitely growing up, like probably age 6. And then age 6 actually I started playing djembe as well.
Okay.
And then but like was really into it age 6. And then drops it for a few years, and then drops it for a few years, then got into programming and gaming, and then like by age 12, then my uncle, who's like really into tech and was like the top genius at Apple, basically, was like, oh, I have a spare like semi-broken computer, but like it could, like there's a music program on it. Do you want to try using it? And it was a thing called I think it was Hip Hop EJ5 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it literally had a very limited amount of loops, and then that was it. But like I used to always make beats on it because I was like, this is perfect. I'm like, it's programming, but it's also music. Like this is sick. And then like. And then that got me back into spirit music properly. And then by age 13, but like around that time as well, I was listening to like a lot of like grime, especially like Kano Gets,
Okay.
like Wretch 32, like the vintage like SBTV, and then like oh my days, the thing they used to do in like the basement freestyles and stuff like that. I'm trying to remember the actual name of it, but yeah. Yes, Lord of the Mics. Yeah. So like, I'll try and find videos from that. Like at 12, I was obsessed with that so much, and like just
at that point, is it when you connected, or what was going on with your age range, sort of?
Yeah, I mean, like it was hilarious because no one like around me really at that time was really listening to it.
Okay.
And then it was maybe a couple months later. Then I joined a thing called Weekend Arts class. Weekend Arts College, that then, like, everyone around me was listening to just that era, and that was it. And I was like, this is so sick. Like, and then, so like, then my connection for that was, like, even deeper. And then my dad was like, oh, yeah, let me take you to this Public Enemy talk, because they're having a random talk in Rough Trade. And I think that blew my mind because like I was listening to grime, but then I was also like my like actual passion for, well, not passion, just I guess I just didn't have a consistent taste. Basically, it was just very on and off, but I'm 12 as well at this point. But like, so it'd be that, and then be like, all right, cool, there's like some rap I'm liking in charts and stuff like that, and you're like, okay, it's nice, but it's like like even with Kano Gets, like at least they're borrowing for their life, and then my dad was like, all right, cool, that's great, but like let's go to this Public Enemy talk. And then my mind was completely blown with all the information they were saying, and then they did like a short, I think it was like 4 or 5 songs or something.
4 or 5 song set. There's only about 50 of us in the room.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah. It was just so sick. And then, like I remember the first question I was so shy to ask, and then my dad was like, "Oh yeah, my son wanted to know this." Like in my head, I'm like, "Oh no, they know." Like that's how shy I was. And then they answered, but like they gave such a long, passionate answer. It was just so beautiful. Just about really keep going and like just picking up as many instruments and like just doing as much with your time, really, like especially at the age that I was at, so well, and that that was when I was 13 when all of that was happening, then Chuck D, Well, no, sorry, Flavor Flav was just like, you know, it's like I'll come up, you know, we did this, Jay-Z did this, you know, Kanye did this, you know, Dr. Dre did this. Like, if we did it, why can't you? You know, that was like the main message. Then that just stuck into my head, like for eternity. Then really, and then yeah, like that was the time I was literally like, cool. I'm picking up drums, I'm picking up bass, I'm picking up keys, literally. I don't play them now, but it was the thing of that was just like my initial starting point, really. Yeah.
Between the two of you, how many instruments have we played or do we play?
Keys.
Yeah, me is just keyboards. Yeah, I'm just keyboard. But synthesizers, that's really my thing.
Yeah.
I really understand them. Go ahead.
And then, yeah, I guess for me, like keys here and there, but like I'd say like my strong point really is drum machine, definitely. But like I know my knowledge on drum machine because I did drumming at a place called Tomorrow's Warriors, basically, which is like it's just like free jazz courses, basically. And like, yeah, a lot of the instrumental community went there, really, like, you know, Nabaya Garcia, Moses Boyd, I think Tom Mish went there, I'm not sure. And then people from Ezra Collective as well. Like, yeah, a lot of people from instrumental community, really.
Did Ashley go there?
Ashley Henry?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. I mean, like, literally majority of us were all
true,
there, basically. But, like, a lot of the time it's all in very different times. But, yeah, it's, like, just really, really amazing place. But, yeah, from that moment, really, with Public Enemy, that's when I was just like, okay, yeah, I really want to take this seriously. Yeah.
And that leads me on to my next question. Done as a fan, when was the first time music was introduced to you both as a profession? And backdrop that with a little timeline of your career so far.
Oh, wow. Okay. As a profession, so being paid.
Yeah, or being paid, or when you realise this is a job, or your first gig, even if it wasn't unpaid, but like your first working in music.
Well, so basically when you realise, like, oh, okay, this is actually can work and make me money, kind of thing.
Job.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
you might have
Yeah.
got the call because someone couldn't make this gig, and now
Yeah.
you're doing that gig, and that is profession.
I guess one of my times for me was well, in my old band Age of Luna, when we got the call for Glastonbury, but it was the way that gig happened that then made me really make sure that I'm like I just perform so sharp at like any venue at any time, any place, because I think especially social media and like the way people look so professional and dope and all of these social media platforms and stuff, like people just see the end goal and then that's it. But it's like for me to get that Glastonbury gig where I played to, it was probably like 1,200 or something in that tent when I was 17. Before doing that, I did one show in Bristol with them that there was only 5 people in the audience, and the rest of the audience actually was just at the bar, and there was only 5 people in the crowd actually watching.
How do you feel at the time?
At the time, performing to the 5, I was literally like, I'm so annoyed, but I'm like, I've got to perform this. I just have to, because you told me to. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, my dad was like, it's like any crowd, you just still have to perform. You just have to, no matter what, you know. Like and like
part of the thing of that, it was some of these things. It's just how these things go, right? So, what was crazy about it was the journey there. I remember being remember the car almost broke down.
No, it did.
Yeah, like so, literally, nearly didn't make it to this.
Yeah.
And the significance of this show in front of 5 people, literally, if 2 people went to get a drink, you've lost half your audience, right? So 5 people. But the craziest thing was, and that was it.
And everyone at the bar who was supposed to be audience, were all speaking over us, everything.
Yeah.
It was the hardest type of gig. And then there was just...
But we're saying, this is the whole thing. It's like, you know, at the time where you probably be your most angry about something, about, you know, the situation, the blah, this, that, and it's that thing of, I know managerially, what you've got to do is you have to keep your artists, like, focused, like, on what they've got to do. Because, as I said to him, you never know who's going to be in the audience. And, of course, in the audience was the Glastonbury booker.
Yep. Or 5 people. Yeah.
She was one of the 5.
Yep.
That is crazy.
Yep. And
What
that,
was the time between that and Glastonbury?
it was literally like a couple months, I'm sure.
It was, yeah. So
It was like maybe 4 months difference or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
And from them doing the Glastonbury, then we got a call from BBC. BBC were like, oh, you know, there's a slot where they turn to the TV studio and they have people performing in the studio but at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
So they were
Yep.
like, oh, we want them to do that as well. So then that happened
Yep.
as well. So
And yeah,
then
Trevor Nelson then was presenting us
Exactly,
as well.
yeah. So-
Like it was just, it was like so much, like all from a gig that was literally just 5 people,
Exactly.
you know.
Almost didn't make it to.
Yes, almost didn't. I mean, yeah, like literally, we only had time to line check. For those who don't know, line check is literally like you plug in and then you play. Like that's how much time we had, because there was a curfew in the venue as well. So it was literally like, it's like you guys are the last act. It's like you were supposed to be on this, but it's like we were supposed to get there hours ago, but the car broke down, you know. So it's like, okay, other artists had to go on before us now. Then we get there just in time to play our set finally. But and then I'm like, okay, we went through all of that. Hopefully it's a good gig. 5 people. You're like, oh my days, no way. And it's only when we start performing then everyone just went the other way.
Oh, okay. From did you have?
Oh, sorry, yeah. I've got to answer the question.
Yeah, you answered
Go
that
on.
as well. But did you ever have your 5-person gig moment?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, we had the one that he knows about, I've told him about a few times, is just the... we had a gig, and this was De-Influence, so we had a gig at the Old Trout. And we got told that the gig was at the Old Trout. And I remember we had really... Because we had just come from supporting Jackson, right? So we're like on top of the world. You know, we've just done the Dangerous tour with the biggest entertainer in the world, right? So we're like, what? Okay? And one of the shows that had been booked way before we'd even been booked to do the Jackson shows was the Old Trout, which I believe was in Windsor. And they said, no, you got to go. And I was like, how many people? And they were like, maybe 180, maybe 200. And I was like, what are we doing this for? And I started my whinging. And then it was one of those where it's just shut up, do the show. And so, you know, sometimes you whinge because you know you're going to do the show and you know you're going to give it your all. But you have to get the whinging out of the way. So I did my whinging. We went on stage and we smashed it. Like we really performed, went in, did it all, just the whole thing. And of course, in the audience was a guy who's from the British Council. And he just said, listen, this band has just dropped out. So we might need someone to replace this band, and do you mind doing it? And I was like, who? I said, well, where is it? And they said it's South America, and they said it's for like a month and a half. So are you okay to do it? And we're literally on the spot. We're like, yeah, no problem. Mm-hmm. So that was us then, and what was significant about that was that entirely changed our thoughts on like rhythmic stuff, because, you know, in the band was obviously myself from West Africa and South Africa. Then you had Steve Marston, who was Jamaica. Then you had Sarah, who was Jamaica. Yeah, and then you had Ed, who was English. But we had never been to South America. And South America is a whole other twist on rhythm. That's like literally. So we had never rumba, samba, blah, this, that. We'd never, you know. So we went and we did a 14-date tour, you know. But in between each show, there was 3 days of like what they call cultural exchange, which has stayed with me forever, really. You know, it's some of the amazing things sometimes that the British Council will do when they, you know, fly people over to places and you get to experience completely different culture and literally be blasted by it. So it was really good. But again, that tour really taught us to play.
Okay.
Really taught us to play. Because it was like, you know, get up, get on stage. But we were playing to good sized audiences, but right the way across Brazil. But, you know, we even did a gig in the Amazon. Like, it was mad, but it's good.
Hold you there,
Go on.
because you unpacked a lot and you touched on a lot.
Yeah.
How did the influence get to there from start?
Yeah.
The jump to that point. How many years was it?
But I've got to answer the question you asked him first. Now, which one was that one?
That one was, when did music, how did you
Professional.
Profession, and give us a quick timeline of
Your memory is good. You didn't even look down and you remembered it. It's good. Music as a profession. I remember being 15, 16, seeing a band on stage at a school and thinking, and I literally got the bug as I was watching them. I remember thinking, oh, wow. Yeah. So that, and then I remember leaving school and starting I was a compere at a club. And it's lucky, I just put my hand up at the right time. The compere that was on stage was leaving. I put my hand up, I said, yeah, I'll do it. And he said, get up on stage now, here's the microphone, talk, introduce the next band. But from being the compere on stage, as you'll probably know, like having to control a crowd, rowdy one, every week for 2 years, 8 bands on stage, controlling the musicians, some of whom want to do a solo for way too long. All of that kind of stuff was like really, really good training. And also, the other thing was, introduced me to some of the best musicians in London at the time. So that was really good. So to me, those were the 2 times. One was with school band, 2, but was as a compere because every week I was earning, you know, as a compere. It's a profession. You have to be there. You've got to be on time. You've got to be presentable. You've got to be, it's on. You know, you can't go with a bad mood. It's like, come on, you know? Yeah. So those to me were the two real times where I was like, okay, this is all moving mad, as you guys would say. Yeah.
So when Namali had that Public Enemy moment,
yeah,
did you recognise that as his compare movement, or did you not know? Like, what was your view on Namali's come up? Like, when did you know he's going in that direction as well?
The time we realised, funny enough, myself and my wife, before like he was maybe 11, we were very much like, we didn't think music was going to be with him at all, and we were fine with that. We were fine with that because we were kind of like, fine, he'll find whatever he finds. Our thing with him was, as he'll probably say,
well, a few years before, I wanted to be a chef.
Yeah, exactly.
As well. Yeah.
And he's a good cook now too. He's proper. But we were very much like, look, our thing was always, is whatever you do, just do it well. Just do it well. If you want to be a chef, if you want to be a cleaner, just clean really well. Whatever you do, just do it well. That's it. That was our only wish for him. But realised, the Public Enemy moment, it was very interesting because very luckily I had my camera on me and I could film it. And I remember, I document a lot of stuff, and I remember just filming it and thinking, he'll want that footage one day. That's all. Because it was a bit mad. Like, he actually put the footage up of it the other day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, because you found it on your old YouTube channel.
Absolutely, yeah. So, and I had it as a private, and it was there, and I sent it to him. But it was funny. I just remember thinking, also, the way, Flav was talking straight at him. It's like, it was really like that, and he was like this, just looking at him like this. And Flav was like, straight at him. You can do it. You could, like, all of this. Yeah. And the whole thing I caught on my cam.
Because like, it was the thing of, like, every other question, it was very, interview normal kind of way of, oh yeah, we did this, but, like, I think it's because as well, I was, like, the youngest person there, and they were like, why is this kid here? Like, so, and yeah, like, it was a crazy moment, but I think, like, obviously, like, a proper, like, whole 360, like, experience with Public Enemy was actually then 3 years, literally 3 years later, my old band, Age of Luna, we get to support Public Enemy.
Which was bananas.
Which was very
it was
wild.
Crazy.
And then, we did the gig we did the support gig. Chuck D then is like, oh yeah, like, he then brings all of us out on the final song. Just to have a fist up in the air, Public Enemy way and stuff. But, like, it was very, very iconic, sick moment, definitely. And then, I still had blue hair when I was 13. So then I still had it then. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm this person, and then Chuck D was like, yeah, he's like, oh, okay. And I was like, damn, he remembered.
Yeah.
Gave me a massive hug, literally. He was just like, he's like, I'm so happy for you, man. Wow. He's like, you really did it. I was like, yep. Yeah.
That's amazing. You're still continuing to do it now.
Yeah.
From the both of you, quick timelines of your career.
Oh boy, come on.
It's hard to be quick, but
okay, I guess.
It was a bird's eye view of the different bits.
Okay, cool. I guess. Okay, so, like, I've produced over. I produced over 100 plus released songs. So it's like not demos at all. That's like 100 straight, like, full tracks out on Spotify and everything. And then within those, it's like 50 of them are like remixes or singles that I've produced for others and stuff. Not even 50, probably 60 plus now, actually. And then, so, like, that's my record with that. And then support wise, with my old band Age of Luna, supported DJ Premier, Royce the 5'9", Public Enemy, Pete Rock, and then Anderson .Paak. So that was my old bands. And then with Blue Lab, we supported Roy Ayers, Malatu Estat K, and then De La Soul, Patrice Rushen. Obviously, we got the Grammy with Angelique Kidjo, so we did 3 shows with her. And then one of the shows actually was a part of Grace Jones' festival, so technically Grace Jones then invited us, basically, to play with Angelique. And then... then we went to Canada to then be the Roots after party, and then Questlove was doing a secret DJ set there, so then I was his announcer before he came on stage. So then we supported Questlove, basically, as well. And then And then our last album was released with Blue Note Records. But before that, we did 2 albums actually. But a lot of people, because it's with a label with this legendary status, everyone thinks that this is our first album, which is hilarious. There's so many people. They're like, "This is a really great first album. How did you guys do it?" And then we're, like in interviews, a lot of the time we're just like, "Yeah." Like if it's fast time interviews, like we just love like messing about with that.
And this is all in the span of the last how many years?
Let me think. So, well, touring years really. So I was 16. Like 6-7 years. Yeah. But all the Blue Lab big supports really was this year. Yeah, like a lot. Like I'd say, 80% of the artists I just said, that was all just from this year. Yeah, because especially like touring wise, for us it's been very wild this year. Yeah, definitely, especially after all the Grammy madness, definitely, and just the fact we were in the same category. Well, the fact that we were nominated firstly with Angelique Kidjo was just a madness in itself, and then we were like, okay, respectively, it's like there's WizKid and also Burna Boy in the same category. It's like they will win for culture. I'm completely fine like with that. I'm just fine with anyone winning. Like this is such an amazing category just to be in. And then Angelique walks up and I'm like, okay, that what? And I find out from her Insta story. Yeah.
You're a walking Grammy Award winner, you don't even know until you
Yep. Literally, I was just swiping through stories, and then I see her hold a Grammy, and I'm like, oh, yeah, like she's posting about a year, like years before when she won, and I'm like, actually, wait, let me just check in case. And I go on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, yeah, like the award that she's a part, like she picked up as well as the one that I'm a part of. What, like. You know, and yeah, the way like I just shut off my phone for about 2 days because I was like, I'm literally mainly shut off social media platforms because I'm just contacting close people and family in that time. That was it. But me and David, we celebrated for a good like 5 days a week or something.
Good.
Like, yeah.
Many
jam sessions.
You must. Okay, so I'm going to hopscotch it. Right, so I compare Backstage Club in 1988-89. Ray Cosbert is the person that gives me my break there, and a guy called Neil Conti. Neil Conti was in a band called Prefab Sprout, who were a pop band, but he was also a session drummer for like David Bowie and stuff. So and he played at Live Aid, actually, I forgot. Anyway, but they basically said, all right, you compare here. So I really, a lot of my learning was from there. But I was also in about 3 or 4 bands. I was in a band called Mensa, then I was in another band called Molly and Polly. I used to play for them. They were 2 background vocalists. I think they sang on Free Nelson Mandela, the record. So I did stuff for them. And then what then happened? Yeah. Then I went to a basement one day, and that changed my whole thing. A guy called Steve Marston said, listen, come down to this basement. There's me and a few guys down there. And I went in, listened to the music that they were doing, and I was like, this is great, really good. I said, look, I've got just an idea for like, what about if we do, maybe that's the A side and then we find a B side for the record that you've already made. Because I said, I can't add to that because it's already good. So they were like, yeah, all right, fine. So we came with a tune called I'm the One. And basically that tune then really almost became the A side. So did that. That then comes out on Acid Jazz. We then get signed after Acid. We were signed to Acid Jazz for one single. Okay, so we go 89, 90. 89, we're signed to Acid Jazz. 90, because this is De-Influence. Yeah, so 90, we're now we get a call from America. Sylvia Rohn, boss, is coming over. She's like, we're really interested in you guys. We've heard your record. So she's like, look, I'm at Atlantic, but we're starting a new division called East West America. We're signing some acts to it, whatever. So we're interested. So they flew over and started listening to our stuff. By the third tune, I kind of knew. You could tell the guy was stamping his foot on the ground. He was just like into it. So he just said, yeah, we want to do this deal. Well, let's do it. So we were like, wow. So we were like, okay, we're going to have to. So we went, and, you know, in the end, we got tickets. We flew over to America. We signed the deal, you know, whatever, you know. 90, yeah. So we go 90, and then we start making the record, right? So we make the record, and the first tune we put off of that record is a track called Good Lover. Good Lover just really does the business, like, radio-wise. And gets played in clubs, like rinsed in clubs, but weirdly was not like a big charting record. It was like number 60 something. It wasn't a really big charting record, but club wise it was literally in clubs for about a year. And then we go from that to doing loads of live shows. We do shows, and then we had the sort of the big show attack. So first of all we did we support a few acts like Galliano, etc. But we support Michael Jackson. We do Wembley. We do the whole Dangerous tour. So it's 5 humongous shows. I mean, our first show with Jacko was 105,000 people. It was massive. So we then go from that. We then go on a bit of a run. So we support Prince. We support James Brown, we support In Vogue, we support Naughty by Nature.
This is time period?
This is like you're going 90 through to like 95.
Cool.
Yeah, 96. We met before The Influence, yeah, still together. We met like, I played her, but I remember we'd started dating. And I played her the vinyl of The Influence, and she was like, "Yeah, it's all right." I was like, "I'll show you." But to be fair to her, because she then learnt to DJ, and she rinsed our records out. So she used to play them. Honestly, Good Lover, I think a large portion. So many people were going to Fresh and Funky, and she played every week. Twice, maybe, you know what I mean? But, you know, that was the vibe. But,
1995.
Yeah, I'm 95 now. So then we come back from America after Sylvia Rohn had a word, really. She'd said, look, although you're in a band, she said, I don't know, we see something else for you. She said, you know, you guys always remember, and it's something that I really take with me to this day. She said, look, how we do things like over here is, when the window opens, she said, bring others through. So it's really stuck in my head. It was going round, flying back from America to the UK, landed. I was like, right, we'll start our own production company. So we start this production company. It was us, there's a guy called Paul Kennedy, there's like a bunch of people, you know, Robbie Ringwood. We start this production company and we sign, I think, and obviously D-Influence were the main production team for it.
So you guys were producing?
We were producing now, yeah, so we're producing. So I'm at Hammersmith's Tube Station, 95, 96, and I just hear this person singing behind me. I couldn't see him. Anyway, that person turns. I ran after her and gave her my number. Anyway, it's Shola Amma. So then Shola, we then start producing. So we produce You Might Need Somebody and most of that record, like 3. D-Influence Productions. Yeah. Yeah, we produce You Might Need... Yeah. At Hammersmith Tube Station. Yeah, there's a lot of Britishness in this. Yeah, at Hammersmith Tube Station. Yeah, so yeah, we produce You Might Need Somebody, and when we produce You Might Need Somebody, I mean, obviously to this day it's still played. But then it was like completely played. I think it was played for like 2 years. So we did that. That really helped launch her. You know, her album goes in the, you know, top 10 and like all manner of everything. I didn't even know. It just, singles were crazy, like everything was mad. We do that. We do the second album as well. So we do probably half of the second album with Shola. But at the same time, we're producing other people. So we're doing everybody from, we're doing production work for some people. So Trevor Horn, Seal, we do Prayer for the Dying, Bring It On. We do, for his second record, we do Tom Jones on his Reload album. We do remixes for Changing Faces. We do remixes. We do mix work, production work, remix work for Mark Morrison. So Return of the Mac, Let's Get Down, Crazy, Horny. We did all of that. So then we did all of that. We do Daryl Hall from Hall & Oates. We do Diana Ross, Not Over You Yet. We do Mick Jagger, Out of Focus we do for Mick Jagger. Lighthouse Family. So we just do this, I just have this mad run. I mean, it was a mad run. Yeah, Another Level we did as well. So in 95, we're running through to 99 almost, yeah. So we're doing all of this. Shola, second album, all of this, we're doing everything there. And obviously in the second album with Shola, I guess the probably, weirdly, even though we produced half the album, probably my biggest contribution to that was going, you know this tune Imagine, there's an R&B version. We're going to commission a garage mix. So commission the Club Asylum. They then do Imagine. And obviously from there it's a madness, yeah. It all takes off. So then in between that start the Urban Music Seminar. So this is 97 through to 2005. We do the Urban Music Seminar. Starts as 500 people. And then grows and grows and grows and grows. Yeah, there you go. That's exactly it. So I didn't really forget. So it took a few years because she said that to me maybe 95, 96. But then 97, start the Urban Music Seminar. And the whole thing with that was, right, okay. Yeah, we opened the window. We're putting a rod to hold everybody's coming. So, and the whole thing with that was people learn about the business because we kept seeing this pattern. The pattern was people get up on stage, they'd be singing, great, they have the hit, and through whatever, monies was just disappearing from people again and again and again. Like publishing deals being signed wrong, blah, this, that, not the right accountant, lawyers in cahoots with this, in cahoots with whatever, that just things which weren't right. And it was just that thing of just get your biz together. So we were like, right, we'll set up a platform. And it's the influence, you know, Ed, Sarah, Steve, really, I sure founded it, had the idea, but they were so critical to support, because we were doing remixes and we took the money from the remixes and put it towards that. Do you know what I mean? Because it was cost, you know, each time. And we did it and did it and did it, and then it started to grow. And then people, because it grew, it was a lot easier to get sponsors. So then we did that to 2005. Then I went into management. First 3 years were terrible. Really, really bad. Yeah, no success, nothing. And then I came across, first of all, a guy called Master Shorty. Master Shorty, we get close with, but not the full cigar. But I recognised that I was like, yeah, my ears are still sharp, it's all right. Then I come across a singer called Rumour. Rumour, I signed to Atlantic Records. And the album then comes out, Slow, goes into the chart. The track's called Slow. Artist is called Rumour. The track comes out, that goes into the chart. And basically just rewrites, just does it. I mean, it really, really does it. Weirdly, it was almost like an artist breaking from Radio 2, you know? Which to me is the holy grail, because it's, you know, there's such a big listenership there. Anyway, so I did, that for a couple of years, really got her the record deal, publishing deal, and then from there, the next one was Laura Mvula. So Laura Mvula, I managed her for that, got her a deal, got her a publishing deal, did the first 5 years, so that's from, Sing to the Moon, Dreaming Room, orchestra album, do you know what I mean? All of those. And then really, I stepped us out of that. She was quite good about it because it was a bit of a matter. I was like, you know what, I've got to step away because I know I'm about to go. I could feel it. A new chapter was coming. And in a way, part of the new chapter was Blue Lab. Part of the new chapter was Blue Lab. You knew that you could feel it there, what they were on at the time, and where they, the whole new jazztronica kind of movement thing was happening, and it was going to be it needed concentration. Just put it that way. So then there was that. And also I knew Ferocious Talent as a management company was going to start and just to get going as well. And also, again, unbeknownst to me, obviously 2020 was going to happen as well. So there's like all sorts, all coming. So you're kind of going there. It sounds like I've jumped, but imagine Master Shorty was 2008. Rumour was 2009, 2010 to 2011. Laura was 2012. Yeah, go up to 2017-ish. 2018, you're going, or in between, or you're going Blue Lab. So 2018, 2019, 2020, 1, 2, 3. Sort of 5. So probably 2016, Blue Labby starting. So there's overlaps. And then, when obviously 2020 happens, there's a lot of board. So I'd been asked to be vice chair of the MMF a few years before 2020. So I started doing that. MMF is the Music Managers Forum, looks after the interests of 1,200 managers in the UK and represents them at sort of government level. And then I started to get asked to, Brits Trust asked me to be a trustee, so I did that. Mobo, I'd always been sort of not involved, but just in an advisory capacity. I'd always given advice to blah, etc. So to Kanya whenever she asked, and really, and then I think over the last few years, that whole thing of not being part of a big, because I was at ATC management when I was doing Rumour, and then Laura, and then tail end of Laura was Ferocious Talent, and I started Ferocious Talent, and now Ferocious Talent is the management company, it's a publishing company, it's whatever. Yeah, it does all that. So yeah, that's me. Boom.
I've got a few more points I need to touch on. Okay, for the both of you.
Yeah, no, that's why, because I was like, it's like hit an hour. I'm like, I don't want anything lost. 1, 2, yeah, okay, cool, all good, yeah.
So, how important is community?
Wow.
In life, in everything. Finding your tribe.
I guess like in my journey, I think to be honest, it happens like with everyone, but like, I guess people just view it differently. But it's like, for me, it's like, obviously, I was in my, like old school hip hop group, Age of Luna. We had community, but I guess because like there was like a tiny sizzling like bit of pop-ish sort of stuff with the band as well, but that came from more the listeners, but I think it was also style-wise with us as well. So it's like kind of just a natural thing for that pop edge to kind of be there as well. But because of that, then community kind of lessened, and like it was like just a slightly more different type of audience, where then And then when it got to around that time, that's then when like the band was like, oh yeah, I want to do this sort of music. Oh yeah, someone else wants to do this. Someone else wants to do this. So it's like, okay, cool. It's like, yeah, naturally, everyone just does their own thing separately. And then for me, me and David were producing that band, but I was in the band, so David was just the like other producer with me basically at that point. So we just wanted to do more instrumental music, and then we were like, okay, cool. And then we were very much messing about with a bunch of demos, and then my dad walks past like my old bedroom studio, and he's like, what is this? What are you playing? And I'm like, oh yeah, we've recorded this. And he's like, and then we were like, oh, we're just messing about. And he's like, no, you need to do an EP of this. And I'm like, oh, we're just messing about. Like, we were literally just doing this as practice and fun. And then around that time, I was really getting into instrumental music even more and more. And I was like 15, 16 at this point. And especially that scene, like back then, instrumental community scene, like there was like at least 40 people in the room, you know, when you're playing. But like we all loved that back then. We were just like we're just having musical conversations on stage. I'd bring my drum machine, and then I'd be drumming against a drummer and stuff like that, you know. So then at that point, then it was like, oh, there's like a bit of a show kind of thing going on. So before it being a chilled jam session, there's now a slight show element that then is happening as well. But there's still heavy music conversation happening at the same time. But with that, it's like especially instrumental community, it's like it's grown so much, especially after pandemic. But I think how I know about that is because a lot of people who couldn't go to uni and stuff in that time then all came to London to learn more about the instrumental community, you know. That was happening here. And like especially after lockdown, it just went completely booming. Like I'm just seeing everyone just picking up an instrument now. I'm just like, what? Like, and no, you played, and then like this person, you know, and like I think especially my thing. And my part within the community thing is like, you know, I'll bring like old school hip hop and R&B samples to jam sessions, and then the live band who I'm playing with, I know will have quick ears, so then they pick up on it straight away. So then, you know, you're hearing, like a Dr. Dre guitar sample or something, like dun 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 dun, 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 like from the Eve track and stuff like that. I'll play it on that or something like that. Then the whole band knows the track. They'll play it. So then it's like I'll add extra texture to it. But like years ago when I brung it, no one got it. I was actually banned from 2 places. Yeah, like, or more the thing of, like, they were nicely saying, yeah, maybe just don't bring it next time. Very much. It's like, we like you to just don't bring that, you know. And then, but I've gotten to the point now, and I've learnt to make it really my own instrument now. And me and David were doing teaching for, it was like Nijo, summer.
National Youth Jazz Orchestra.
Yeah, like
they
summer school thing, basically.
Summer camp.
And one person in that, we were teaching there for 4 days. One person brought an MPC, and I was like, sorry, what? And then he's like, yeah, I learned finger drumming because of you. I was like, that's wild.
That's how the community grows and evolves.
Yes, you know, like, well, I mean, like, and like, finger drumming is a very, like, insanely rare technique, you know, so it's just like that's one. And then I've seen another person, a week ago, literally brung drum machines to the jam, and he's like, it's because I saw you. It's like, I didn't think could have been a thing, but then I saw you like months ago. I've been practicing since, you know, so that, and I guess, yeah, like very much mixing the electronics then with jazz harmony, soul harmony and stuff. Like, people very much come to me and David being like, you know, you guys are really the ones for UK that really put this sound together for all of us, you know. So yeah, like that's a very big like thing for us, you know, definitely. But naturally, we just did it for fun. It was always that. We just played to a room of like 30 people, like every week, sometimes 4 times a week, you know, like, and we just enjoyed it. And then people feel that same enjoyment that you're feeling, and then you just gravitate around that. You know, that's how community is built, really.
Oh, okay. So, community. Give me the question again.
The question was, what is the importance of community in music and also in life? So, for you,
Okay. I got it.
community as a parent and working.
Yeah.
There's a lot to explore.
Yeah. Okay. So, community in music. I mean, I just count myself as part of British black music, and part of the story of British black music. And there's a real brotherhood and sisterhood of people. Some made it all the way through to here, some didn't, because the road was tough. It's a very, very, I mean, it's interesting. There's a cartoon I've seen, and it went around a lot in 2020, and it was 2 people at a starting line, and one had the path. It was an athletics track, and their path was clear to run, and the other one was like barbed wire, fences, you know, like bombs, whatever. And people, there's one person standing over it, say, you both got this, you're both running the same race, what's the problem? And it's like, it was tough, it was really, really hard. But at the same time, it made all of your victories like that much more like intense, you know? Because we knew that the playing field wasn't level. It wasn't even designed to be level. So our thing was very much like, we're just going to do it. We've got nothing to lose. Because you're not really expecting anything of us anyway. So the bigger the things got for us, the more we could literally turn around and go, what? You know, that's the only way I can put it. So, yeah. And there was a lot of responsibility that came with that. A lot. There's a lot of responsibility that came with it. So, you know, things, I think as far back as the urban music seminar is like really important in terms of, that's like, urban music seminar was like building our, the idea is almost like, we're not going to wait for the UK music establishment to acknowledge how important UK black music is. We're just going to build our own thing. And when you lot catch up, cool. But now, come, and we're going to teach from within. That's it. And we're not going to do it to a few people. We're going to do it to thousands. Because you know what? If 5 people out of 1,000 go through and make it through to labels and blah and this and that, great. So now when I walk around record labels and there's people in there that I know came to seminars and blah and blah, I just grin. I love it. I'm literally like, good. Because that was the point. The point of it was, because we used to walk through record labels before, and really it was like sacks of salt. It's nothing. No peppercorn, nothing. Whereas now, you're walking through and, you know, you're literally like, all right. But having said that, we still need at senior level, mid and senior level, there's still a drought and it needs to be addressed. But we'll get there. We're coming for that too. So that's fine. That's fine. So that, to me, helping build, and we were just one thing of many. There's like many things, you know. organisations like I Love Live, you know, Pamela McCormack's, you know, organisation as well, and like there are all of these different organisations that all help. BMC is part of, you know, the maintaining and making sure that things are done right. You know, it's like so every one of those, I just count us as just being part, me or just being a small part of like the whole, like the evolution. So that's community wise, and I think personally, I think in terms of community, it spills over from music. Just knowing, having conversations. I remember having a conversation with a singer called Tubby T, and he just said to me, Kwame, you know, he said, I was thinking about maybe taking another path. He said, but you know what? We came and we saw like what you could do, and it was being spoken about by our people. So I know you could do it. So that's why I changed and did what I did, you know? And for me, hearing one sentence like that, it's all worth it. Everything's worth it. Hearing one, let alone the amount that I hear. I hear a lot of people will walk up, I'll, you know, be walking along and someone will tap me on the shoulder and say, listen, you don't know me, but. So I'm like, yeah, good. You know, and Andrea, by the way, and Nikki, all the people that work on the seminar as well, you know, they're the co-partners of the seminar. Andrea Yule, Nikki Osai, formerly Charles. Yeah, just got married, bless her. But yeah, so yeah, very important. And a big part, you know, these guys, they, you know, he's spoken at the seminar. Tali, you know, she went to the seminar from when she was small, you know, so, and they've all been in it and a part of it. So I'd say that's for us, that's the, yeah, the community thing, you know, and yeah.
Last question to end. Thank you guys so
Bada
much
bing.
for your time.
Straight up.
One more for you. What is the one lesson you learned from each other?
Oh, what a brilliant question. Oh, great question. What a great question. Oh, that's a great question.
Patience.
Yeah?
Yeah. Patience.
And why?
Because I've seen and heard stories of what my dad's done, plus his generation, especially of black musicians of that generation. And then for me and for my generation, we're feeling like we're very much carrying that torch, you know, and us knowing, especially with the very wildness with, you know, social media platforms and stuff, and basically us knowing that we can break the code with a lot of the nasty business stuff that is around, you know, and us knowing that we can do it our own way, you know, and us knowing we're breaking the code and us actually just going for it, like, is such a remarkable thing. But then I'm remembering what that generation done, and then from my knowledge of the generation before that, and just us know, and me knowing that I'm just carrying that torch and doing it my own way, you know. But patience is it's a very hard thing to learn, because you constantly think, because stuff is so fast as well, you constantly,
Like,
yes,
we see it now, we want it now.
yeah, and that's it. You're just like, yeah, I just want that right now, you know. It's like years ago, you know, I was nominated for one award, and then someone else who was completely random out of the entire category got it instead. And then I was like, oh, but I should have really got that. And then my bro David from Blue Lab, he's like, I know we're going to get something even bigger than that. And he's like, also, we're not even making music for awards. He's like, okay, cool, yeah, you know. And then years later, then we get the Grammy. And it wasn't even about, like, now obviously the acknowledgement is amazing, but then it's actually the thing of, it's actually the knowledge that I had when getting that as well, internally, you know.
As
that
in, it was the right time.
Yes.
It's more the right time, and that's the
Yes.
thing. That's the thing about patience.
It was like us when we went to Montreal. Years ago, we did South by Southwest. Our set was nice, but when we did Montreal, there were 600 people there, and we carried that crowd. Like, the crowd chanted our name 3 times in the set. I couldn't play a song. There was one point I had to not play a song for 2 minutes because they were chanting that long. They loved the set that much. So, and you can't rush that. That's just progress, and progress is an ongoing thing, you know. So it's just learning patience from my dad, and especially that generation, and from me researching generations before. And it's just literally that patience is such an important part of process, knowing, knowledge, and general life, really. Yeah.
Wow. And I guess, I think for me, the thing I probably most learned from Namali, or NKOK as he's known, the thing that I've learned probably is he's quite an inspiring person. So when I say that, I mean, and it's a strange thing to say because he said he learned patience off of me. But then when I watch him and his dedication to like his craft and his like instrument and his learning about production and all of that, and his, you know, he'll research stuff and really go into it. For me, one of the things, you know, I'd long since stopped being in the studio. I was much more on the other side, you know, management, whatever, X, Y, Z. But then with him, he's always, come and listen to this. Check this out. What do you think of this? Come and check this out. Come and check this out. And I watch him and watch him and watch him and watch him. And in the end, I remember thinking, Kwame, you actually know quite a lot in the studio. So then it inspired me to go back into the studio. So then I started producing records again. But I do it for fun, you know. So I started to, you know, produce. We got a new act coming out that, you know, I've co-written and co-produced, and, you know, and a couple actually. And that's been fun. That's been really, really just enjoyable to do. But I wouldn't have done that if it hadn't been for him, because it rubs off. You know, you see him and he's really applying himself and applying himself and applying himself and applying himself, and he's doing it right, and it doesn't matter if he takes him a little while longer, you know, all of that. So to me, I think it's the application. That's really what I learned from him. Yeah.
We've got patience and the application.
Application, because with him, that's with him and David and their application with Blue Lab, like the amount of time, like they both spend. You know, David he's out, does jam sessions, blah, this, that, whatever, but
5 times a week.
Exactly, he's playing out 5 times a week. I mean, it's an insane appetite for music. And then you've got NKOK or Namali doing his, like, if David's out, he's in here.
I'm learning to mix.
Learning more, mix technique, blah, this, that, whatever. So when you've got that kind of synergy going on, it's a madness. It's a proper madness. It's like, you know, when you watch them at work and you see them do, you know, I come in, hi, how you doing? They've eaten their food. I go out, 6 hours later, I come back in, they've done 3 backing tracks. You're like, okay, you know, like blistering speed, but quality. Anyway, yeah, but that's what I love.
Patience, application. See, we started off by saying the legend and the overflow. Long may it continue.
Bless you.
I'm in this room feeling very inspired.
Bless up, man.
This is for me. This is what it's all about. Like, you know, and even in all that you've done, like beyond the achievements, just father and son sitting and chatting, and like we need this in the world, let alone in the music space. So it's been an honor to be here with you.
Oh, thanks, man.
Thank you.
No, thanks. Man. It's been a thing. It's good. It's a good thing to do.